Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn. I'm with Joy Gendusa, and I am so honored and excited to have her because we've been in similar circles for many years. I've seen her promo on her website, and she's going to talk about entrepreneurship and marketing. Hey, Joy. Thanks so much for being on my show today. It really is a genuine honor for you to be here with me. So thank you.
I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah. So, God, I mean, there's so many things that I know that you could share with us today. And we have maybe 30, 45, 55 minutes, whatever you want, to talk about entrepreneurship and marketing. And my purpose with Growth Driven is to bring experts like you to share with people vast amounts of knowledge. But I probably would start I know you have this great story. You started in the late 80s. Maybe you could start there and tell us how you started PostcardMania and where you are today.
Well, maybe I should tell your listeners a little bit about me.
Please.
Yeah. I mean, I started my company I started PostcardMania in June of 1998. I had a little graphic design firm, and I was brokering printing at the time. And basically now today, 22 years later, we have 287 staff, and we'll probably close the year at about 63 million in revenue.
Wow.
I've never taken any capital from anyone. The only debt I have at all is my mortgage. And I have no partners. I have amazing staff. I have amazing, beautiful, incredible staff. But I do have a lot that I can share with people, especially small business owners that really want to scale. That's, what I figured out how to do, before the internet could teach me. So.
Great topic. I mean, that's such a timely thing, even particularly now with COVID and a lot of people have scaled back for, numerous reasons. So I think what you bring to the table today in terms of teaching us how to scale is so vital, especially going forward in 2021. So tell me, you started in 1988, right? Do I have that correct?
1998.
1998. Sorry about that. And then now you have this incredible amount of people. I saw your website, this huge building. You're doing all types of marketing from postcards, CRMs, Facebook, Google. I mean, and you've integrated it. Tell me that journey, what was kind of the epiphany or the aha moments that got you to scale the way you did?
Well, in the very beginning, it changed over the years. In the very beginning, it was that there was no company offering affordable, full color, direct mail postcards, like a one-stop shop to small business owners. They had to, basically the only place you'd had to go to commercial printer. And if you wanted to print 5,000 full color, super glossy postcards, you were going to spend about $1,500 back then, because you had to pay for all the make ready is what they call it. But there's a lot of work that gets done to get a print run going. This is before there was digital presses. Mm-hmm. So that was the first thing, is that we brought something to market that didn't exist, that was needed and wanted. And then, then we became the most copied company on the internet. I feel like you could find postcards on every virtual corner. And some of these guys were big commercial printers that could easily afford to just throw up a section of their website saying, and print for a loss leader, meaning they could print for less than what it cost them or what it cost them, and it was no skin off their back. Mm-hmm. So we had to figure out how we were going to differentiate ourselves we didn't want to be a commodity and just, sell on price. Originally, my price was everything. It was you could not get postcards that inexpensive. So I didn't even know what a unique selling proposition was at that time. But what we did is we created an area in my company called the Results Manager. And basically what this person did is they went through all the campaigns and got as many of the results from the owners as we possibly could that would allow us to share them with other people. So we've cataloged the results of thousands of campaigns across hundreds of industries so that we could share that information. So we became very results driven And we became, instead of a postcard printing company, we became a small business marketing company. That was
That's
a while ago. That was a long time ago.
yeah, but still, you made a critical differentiation in the marketplace. And I like what you really shared here. I think it's a great takeaway, which is I think a lot of small business people think in terms of a commodity versus you created a value add way beyond the commodity, which was, and I loved how you branded the person as, I forget what you call him,
Results manager.
the results manager. That's brilliant. And then really documented success, and so that you could distill that for every client that you served.
Yeah, it was really changed my business completely, because then we could learn how to close small business owners when they would say, well, I can get it over here for $50 less or $100 less. If what are you buying? You're buying leads, right? You're buying, okay, it looks like you're buying postcards, but you're buying leads. So would you rather go to a company that cares not about your results, and they have no, I mean, we also put a ton of work into analyzing all of these campaigns, training all our graphic designers on how to create a results-driven design. What is going to convert someone from looking at a postcard to actually checking them out next online, or picking up the phone and calling them, ideally. But over the years, that, people who call a company based on seeing an ad has just gone like this. So that's how we wound up transitioning to a whole bunch of other things to help, again, small businesses actually get leads.
Right. So instead of selling the commodity, you reverse engineered the effect that you wanted to create,
Mm-hmm.
which is met exactly with what the business needed and wanted. And then you built your services around that. When the digital age came around, tell me some of the strategies that you integrated with digital marketing and the postcards.
Well, what we did in 2013 is we created what we dubbed Direct Mail 2.0, and we added Google Ads. We flanked the direct mail campaign with Google Ads that were somewhat geographic until a certain point, and then they were remarketed. And what that means for your listeners is that when you go to a website and then you leave the website without doing anything, and then you start seeing that website's ads following you all over the internet, that's called remarketing. They marketed once to get you to their website, and now they're remarketing to you to get you to respond.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of saved back then for large companies. And it wasn't being done really for small businesses. So we added that. We added a call tracking phone number, a different phone number, so that they could see all the calls that came from that campaign, and a mail tracking code so that they could also see when their postcards would hit mailboxes, specifically predicted date and confirmed date with the Postal Service. And we put this all in a nice dashboard. And since then, we've added Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Gmail ads to Direct Mail 2.0. We also spun off Direct Mail 2.0 and made it its own company that goes after other printing companies to help them be relevant. We changed the name to Everywhere Small Business. Do you know Brad Kugler?
I do know Brad Kugler, yeah.
That's the CEO of that company, and they're killing it. They're doing amazing. But they even moved out of here, and they're over in downtown Clearwater in the Bank of America building now.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So because we needed to help printers stay relevant, because they were really feeling the effects of the digital world, and a lot of brands going all the way to digital. Now, not the smartest move in the world, because we're bombarded by spam email or just unsolicited email, even if it's a good product. And we're bombarded by pop-ups and ads all over the internet, which is great, but we go a little bit blind to it. So with the direct mail piece, somebody receives that, they can look at it, they can decide to put it on the kitchen counter until they're ready to do something about it, or they can move it over here and over there until they throw it away, or whatever. But it makes the business really credible, because they took the time to create a tangible thing. And younger people, because they grew up online, they like tangible things. So it's really just coming back around. It's good being old. You've seen it all.
Yeah. Well, we don't call it old. We call it a renaissance.
Okay. Yeah. But I'm talking about myself. It's good being old.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that there is a renaissance in direct mail because it's almost like we went so far away from it that nobody's doing it supposedly, but yet those that are now doing it, there's less competition in the mailbox.
It's true. It's true. And yeah, it's true. So it's going for us. We're growing year over year. We've had just a couple of years that we were down. We're even up almost 10% in year COVID. So we're extremely excited about that.
That's great. So now the fact that you've been up over and over and over and over, which is itself quite an achievement, regardless of what business you're in. What's kind of your basic principles or philosophy that has really spurred on the activity that's created that effect for you?
Well, we use the Hubbard management system at PostcardMania, and I learned there that you never stay the same. You're either growing or you're shrinking, and so you can't just maintain level. It's either going up or it's going down. It might look level for a few months, but in the broad scheme of things, and I find that to be true. So at the very beginning of starting my business, I thought, okay, if we're not growing, we're shrinking. And that was like probably the most basic piece of information that I operated off of at the get-go. But then the ones that I learned from the Hubbard management system, one is called gross income senior datum. And that has to do with getting mail out. And I can paraphrase it a little bit. Basically, it says the size, not the quality, of an organization's mailing list and the number of mailings to it determines the gross income. And that word determines is a pretty standard word, but if you look it up, it's pretty specific. So the size, not the quality, of an org's mailing list and the number of mailings to it determines the gross income. So I was like, I better send out a lot of mail. Now, this, of course, was back before there was email. There was email, but not bulk email and not spam email. And there weren't Google ads and there weren't all these digital things. So what happened, this is kind of interesting, in 2009 was one of our down years. It was during the whole bubble bursting, and I had tons of real estate clients and mortgage broker clients. So we were down about 15% in 2009. And 2008 ended like squeak up, and then 2009 we were just like
disaster.
So anyway, so what happened is I was advised to cut my ginormous marketing budget because I spent a fortune actually on marketing. I put my money where my mouth is. I spend about $90,000 to $100,000 a week on outflow on marketing. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's good. I mean, we're doing over 60 million. So it's a percentage of my revenue, and it's great. And that doesn't include payroll or anything. I have about 10 people that work on PostcardMania's marketing, not client marketing, just our marketing.
Okay.
So anyway, so I cut my budget in the middle of the year and I was down 15%. And I swore I would never, ever, ever, ever do that again. So 2010, I did have a highest ever, as I did in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. So I practice what I preach. I feel like, and my mail postcards, that budget, that $90,000 to $100,000 a week, 30,000 of it is Google, or Google and Facebook, but mostly Google. And for B2B, it's better. And the rest of it is postage and direct mail.
That's awesome. So I think it's a great takeaway here for anybody that's listening. And by the way, if you're just joining in on the video, or later on you're coming in, you find this months from now on YouTube, or you listen to the podcast, I'm with Joy Gendusa with PostcardMania.
Gendusa, by the way.
Huh?
It's Gendusa.
Gendusa, apologies.
It's okay. Just figured. Since
it's my Midwest upbringing that kind of gets me my, it's like, my last name in the Midwest is Durburn. So, and I have to overcome that as well. So apologies.
No problem.
But Joy, you go to PostcardMania. If you're listening, go to PostcardMania. I'm telling you, their website is not only massive in terms of what they offer, but there's a lot of education there, what you can learn to market your business. So what I think the great takeaway here is, Joy, is that you have dedicated not only a large amount of money, but you've got 10 people internally, not marketing for other people, but just marketing for you. So you've got people, you've got assets, you've got resources, you've got money, all dedicated to your growth, which, okay, maybe other people aren't as big as you, but I think the takeaway here is you've got to put the money and you've got to put the people to the growth.
You are exactly right. And I dedicated money, a percentage of revenue from day one. I started mailing postcards the day I came up with PostcardMania, which is a funny story, but I don't know if they'll learn from it. I was doing 1,000 pieces a week, every single week. And then I went to 2,500 pieces a week. And then I jumped to 5,000 pieces a week. And it was an investment for me. And I had to really figure out what's my make break? Like, what's the amount that I need to send where my salespeople aren't wasting leads. They're not getting leads that are just the low hanging fruit and closing them and ignoring the tougher guys. So I had to juggle it over the 22 years to get to now 180,000 postcards every single week that go out.
That's incredible. So now when people come to you, I'm sure, small businesses, you're talking to them on the phone or they're coming through ads or however they get into your sales funnel, and you say direct mail. I'm sure that there's probably an incorrect perception that maybe direct mail is not the route to go. How do you show somebody, what are some statistics that you show them that really direct mail is just as relative, if not more today than maybe it was 10 years ago?
Well, interestingly, we only promote for new clients with direct mail. We don't promote any of the other services. We have so many customers. We have 95,000 customers or something. Wow. Yeah. So we only promote the other services to our customers. So what we do when we are using direct mail, we're telling them use postcards, they work. And we have, we do different designs for different industries. So we're mailing to probably 30 different industries with those 180,000 postcards a week. And it's all inbound leads. So with our pay-per-click, people who are specifically searching for postcards, not multi-channel marketing or integrated marketing, there's not enough small business owners looking for that because they don't even know what it is. There's a very small percentage of small business owners that have the time to learn everything they really should learn about marketing.
Very true.
To your listeners, if they're business owners, the business owners that are my clients that are on top of their own marketing grow. We've put guys on the Inc. 500. We've been on the Inc. 500, not just the 5,000, but the Inc. 500, which is much harder to get on. Yeah. And we've put guys on there because the business owners, we used to pre-COVID, we did an event twice a year for our customers, and we can only fit 100 people. We do it right here in our facility, and we can only fit 100 guests at a time. So it fills up really quickly. But I had this one gal come to my event, and at the end of the event, she said, okay, I'm going to do whatever you say. Like, I am going to, you know what you're doing. I now know, and I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do. And she did. And she grew, she doubled her stats. Like, she doubled her, and she was a $9 million a year business at that time.
Wow.
So significant. It's much easier to double when you're tiny. Yeah.
Very much so. And so, okay, so you've successfully proven that postcards is really a gateway to getting new clients, regardless of size. Are there certain industries that you have found tend to do better that you find, for whatever reason, the nature of the business, the nature of the audience, that do better with postcards than maybe some other industries? For
sure. 100%. I would never recommend postcards to somebody who has a product that they sell that's like under $100.
Okay.
And they need, and they're trying to get new clients. Don't do postcards. You need to have, if that's sort of your, bait to sell them something for $20,000 later, great. Then you can use postcards. You can use postcards to give something away.
Right.
If you're trying to build a list and you have a very high ticket item on the other side of that. But the industries that it does definitely work for are any in the medical arts, dentistry, physical therapy, chiropractic, plastic surgery, med spas. I mean, walk-in clinics, any in the medical arts we do very, very well for.
Great.
Also, anything in home improvement. So roofers and plumbers and kitchen remodelers and anything in the home improvement. Very, very good for postcards. Also real estate, mortgage. We have a gazillion realtors that use our services. So, so it's all over. It's literally like, I think like 350, probably more now, industries. But we even, a lot of times B2B is very hard. If you have to mail, B2B being business to business, if someone doesn't know that terminology, it's basically like my husband's business, and he still does use postcards, his clients are humongous banks, like Fidelity, and, huge, crazy sized companies. And he's dealing with middle managers, and they all have different post titles in all the different companies. So it's very hard to target within a very large company with a postcard. He still does it because he once mailed out, he was mailing, I don't remember the quantity, probably 12,000 pieces a month. And he was like, I'm just going to do it based on gross income senior data. He did it, and he got a client that spends millions of dollars with him. Like, since that time has probably spent $10 to $12 million with him,
Crazy.
Yeah.
The response rate is not high, but the ROI was awesome.
Exactly. So the return on investment was great. And that's another thing. Like, a lot of small business owners say, oh, I tried it. It doesn't work. I didn't get a good enough response. And response is, you really want to know what the return on investment is. What's my ROI? How many calls do I need to get in? How many of those need to close in order for me to make what I need to make this successful? So if you reverse engineer it and you know what you're going for, you'll have a better experience with direct mail or marketing in general.
Makes sense. So going forward, obviously we've had a crazy year in 2020 with COVID. Going forward, where do you see PostcardMania? Is there certain strategies that you think are going to work better, or you're adding new technologies? Where do you see the future?
We're pretty excited. We do have some new technology. We implemented, I'm not sure who your listeners are, so there's a lot, I don't want to give like terminology, but basically we created like an e-commerce site that can be integrated into any large company or any company that wants to sell direct mail to their users or clients. So they can have a storefront or an e-commerce site that's very seamlessly in their site, where we're actually doing the entire thing for them. Where they can go online and, we'll put up a bunch of templates, and then the clients can go there and customize them, and they can do, every card can be different. It's all digital printing. And we've integrated with some CRMs. I think that's what you were mentioning earlier. We've integrated with some CRMs so that people could actually do trigger-based direct mail. So if you spoke to somebody on the phone and they agreed to do a demo and they made an appointment, you can send them a follow-up postcard just by putting that appointment into the CRM. So there's some trigger-based stuff that we're doing, and we're putting a lot of attention and focus on that side of the company right now. And it's very exciting for us, I should say. We probably have about 25 or 30 companies that we've integrated with now, and they can integrate directly if they want to as well. It's called an API connection, where our software talks to their software and they build the store themselves. So we're capable of doing that. We have about a 8-man programming team here too. So we do all our technology.
That's incredible. Do all the IT internally. So when you do this storefront, I'm very interested in this because I know that's where, obviously with social distancing, staying at home, people are shopping more online. Are there certain industries that you are kind of seeing gravitating towards that technology that you're offering faster than others?
Yes, real estate, huge. We're integrated with a data company that's amazing they get all this aggregated data for realtors, and realtors can geofence, that terminology, like they can draw a picture around where the farm they want to market to, and they can, in that farm, pull out only guys with equity, or only, it's like really good data.
Wow.
And they were our first, that's kind of a fun story, because they found us extremely randomly. We didn't even have a page on our website. We were just talking about that we wanted to do this. We didn't even have the software yet. And we had to buy software that works with our digital presses. So we didn't invent the software for the storefronts, but we can do the API connections internally. So we didn't even have the software yet. So we caught a call, because we do so much outflow. One of my regular sales reps caught a call, and she kind of just got the idea. She did not want to just tell them, no, we can't help you. Mm-hmm. So we passed the call, and we talked to him about it, and we were already talking about exactly what we wanted to do. So I took the call, which I don't take calls. And I took the call, and I was like, no, we can help you with this. We can 100% help you with this. And what do you want to have? Oh yeah, we can do that. Oh yeah, we can do that. And he's like, great. Can we get a demo? And I said, of course. Let me see. I don't know how to do the demo. Let me see if I can get who I can get to do the demo. See, being the CEO, you can play stupid. It's fine. And I was stupid. I had no idea what I was going to do. So I hung up, and I called the company that we were looking at their software. That there's only a few that work with the software we use to do everything with the printing, right? So I said, is it possible for your demo guy who demoed me, can he demo this potential customer and pretend he works for me? She was like so wigged out. She was not comfortable. She goes, let me ask him. And I was like, well, we're really close. This could be a really big customer for us. And I had no idea what I was talking about. Anyway, this guy did demo this company, and they are our customer. They're our biggest storefront customer now. Like they get a little kickback from it too. So they got, last week, we had a highest ever with them. We've been running this for less than a year with them, but they got about, I think they got a check for over $4,000 from us last week. So that, if we carry on that way, that's like $250,000 a year kickback. That's not nothing.
Yeah. I mean, well, obviously they're earning the money by, helping their clients. So now let me get this straight. So if I'm a realtor, I can and say, okay, I want this area. I live in Henderson, Nevada. I want this, area. Green Valley is a section of Henderson. I want the Green Valley geofenced, and I want to run my marketing towards people in that area with the use of postcards as well as my storefront. Is that correct?
Right. But I wouldn't give the realtor wouldn't have a storefront. It would be, like a big real estate company that has a lot of realtors under them.
I got it. Okay. All right.
Broker would have it. So this company that I was just telling you about that has this technology, this data, they're called Remine, like real estate mining. So Remine. And so any realtors that hear this can definitely go check out Remine and sign up for Remine. And then if they sign up for Remine, they can get the cool data and use their incredible GUI to help them get the exact, audience that they want to mail to with the exact criteria, and then say upload data to postcards, and then they'll be in the store, and they'll think they're still on Remine's site, but they'll be on our site at that point.
I got it. So you're just doing the back end fulfillment. And that's great. That's a great partnership. So you struck a strategic alliance with them, and it's working out great.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. We have about 30 of those alliances. So that's why it's exciting for us, because it's going to grow us rapidly. It's going to grow us without us having to touch every single solitary client. So I still love my model of helping small businesses directly one by one, and we're always going to do that. But this is a way for PostcardMania to have a lot of people working for us, a lot of salespeople working for us that don't work for us.
Absolutely. I think strategic alliances, personally, it's something I've been blogging about. I've been writing about for a number of years. This is how I've attracted certain of my clients as strategic alliances. Big believer in. I think it's exciting to hear. And I think the takeaway, if you're listening to this, is if you don't know what a strategic alliance is, it's worth studying. It's worth learning about. and it's worth developing your own strategy. And I think, Joy, you've exemplified really that it is a multiplier beyond any multipliers, where you don't have to necessarily go after the clients directly, but you become a back-end provider, or you've got some type of co-branding relationship where you're now tapping into other people's audiences. And I think that's very exciting expansion for you.
Changer for us, for sure.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've noticed on your website is that you've integrated so many different things into a seamless system. Now I don't have all the details, but I looked at, you mentioned CRM, which I'm a big believer in. Where do you see yourself growing in that, all that integration? Like how does that play a part for you?
Well, we don't offer a CRM, and
Right.
we're not a CRM. We can just use you can use a connection called Zapier. Have you heard of Zapier?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if for the audience, it's just they call them Zaps. It's a weird name. Zapier makes you happier. That's their. But basically, Zapier is connected to Salesforce and all the really big CRMs. And now PostcardMania is connected to Zapier.
Okay.
Somebody who you can use Zaps to do any kind of thing that you do, that you want to automate, that you do over and over again in your CRM, if it's a big enough CRM that's connected to Zapier. So that way somebody can create trigger-based responses, in their using their CRM to send direct mail. So that's the only thing that we have to do with CRMs.
That's great. And then what outreach do you do with small businesses? I know that you're probably big on education and helping others. What are some of the initiatives that PostcardMania does to kind of elevate you, if you will, the knowledge and skills of small business owners?
We have a blog, which we write. I write an article every single solitary week, and it's always something to help them learn something. That's one thing. We also have our growth summit that this year we did twice virtually, and we're probably gonna have to do it virtually again, even though personally I think COVID is a joke. Not a joke to people who lost their lives.
I understand.
Not that any illness is a joke to anybody who had a serious thing happen from it, but it's not any different from any other diseases out there. Sorry to go off topic. But anyway, but because people won't come, we have to do it virtually. So we did that, and we had about 1,500 small businesses tune in to each of our virtual events. And we can only fit 100 live. So there's that. And then we just created an online marketing course where I'm giving away the first 6 lessons. There's about 20 something lessons. They're not all created yet. I have an incredibly talented son who is an animator, and he started an e-learning business.
Great.
Partner, and I am his guinea pig, of course. What he likes about me as his guinea pig is that once I start selling the course, I will split the profits with him, and he will and that's kind of a model he has with other influencers or people who have a really large list, so that they promote the course. It helps them, help their clients, or it helps them make their clients better clients, or whatever it is. And then he can, have some kind of income coming in off of that. So he's working on a number of different courses. Mine was the guinea pig. He's got one. Do you know Mike Kaplan? He's just about finished with Mike's sales course. So that's
good. Yeah, I know Mike Kaplan very well.
Yeah, it's a great book. We train our sales guys using Mike's book, which is what is it called? The ultimate closer. I can't remember the name of the book right this second, but he took Mike Kaplan. You can find it on Amazon. Mike Kaplan's book, and made it into. Mike has a course, but it was very old technology. So now it's all flashy and nice the way my boy made it. So
that's cool. Okay, so they can go to your blog at postcardmania.com. That's one resource. And then this summit, is this a paid summit? Like people pay to go to the summit?
Only if they visit me. But since we've been doing it virtually, it's been free.
Okay, great. So the free virtual summit. And then when we get back to normal, then they can pay and go to the summit and hang out with you and learn a lot of marketing stuff.
We only charge like $300. And the only reason we charge is because we don't want people no showing. It has to be a painful enough price that they show up.
I agree.
Yeah. And then we also give them, people are blown away by this event. We take them on a dinner cruise. Since we can only fit 100 people, we take them on an awesome dinner cruise. We have a total blast. Yeah.
I'm there.
Okay, good. Good. You should come.
When it opens up again, yeah.
It's open. We have such a great governor here in Florida. We're free to make our own choices about our health, and we're free to make our own choices about, how locked down we want to be. So it's going good.
I'm all for that. Freedom. I love freedom. And then you're going to be having these online courses. So great. So if you're listening to this, go to PostcardMania, sign up for Joy's blog, receive these, join the online conference when they're being announced. And I'm sure if they're on your mailing list, they're going to find out about it.
Yes. And I also have a book I wrote.
Okay.
If they go to postcardmania.com/podcast, you can download my book as an ebook for free.
Great.
Yeah. And if you really are interested in us, we have free samples, postcardmania.com/free samples, and we'll send you an info pack. And I think it'll ask you for what industry you're in, and we'll send you samples from your industry.
Great. Free samples, blog, free courses, and other stuff coming up. So this is great. You're definitely giving back to the community and helping elevate, their knowledge and skill sets. Before we end, if you were to kind of sit down with someone and they had a half hour of your time and they went, Joy, I don't know, marketing, it's overwhelming, what would be some takeaway tips that they could start implementing right away?
The first thing I would tell them is the hardest thing for me to convince any small business of is actually the quantity of communication that it takes to make a change in your business. People do no marketing, and they started their business and they got word of mouth and they had referrals. And then they get to a point where they're just, they can't really hire more people unless they get more business in. And they don't realize the amount of marketing it takes to actually take your business to the next level. It's a quantity game.
So now the quantity, I totally agree. The estimation of effort, orders of magnitude. So now they go, okay, good. I got to do that. What's the next little tidbit you'd give them?
Oh goodness, it's so much harder now than it used to be, because you have to be visible to everybody everywhere that they are. Even if you're B2B and you don't really feel like you're ever going to get any leads off of Instagram, you need to have an Instagram, and you need to have a Facebook page, and you need to have a website. Oh, websites. I can talk about websites for hours, and because websites is where the rubber meets the road. This is where people are going to find out more about you. They're going to go online and find out more about you. And yes, of course, it takes time if you're starting a business to get those 5-star reviews going on Google, but you need to get them, and you need to have a system in place to get them from the very first customer that you service. Because people are going to go look for social proof. They're going to look for why should they do any business with you once you start outflowing to them. And so they want to see people who don't know you on sites that you can't control say good things about you. But your website is really where they're going to pass judgment on you. And even if you're the best at what you do, if your website doesn't look as professional as you are, and you feel like I have a website and it was already an emotionally draining experience to create, sorry, tough, you're just going to have to get a new website. We do also build websites. Again, we don't promote this to non-customers. We do it for non-customers if they find us and they want us to, but we don't promote that to people who don't know us, because you can get a website on every blog. You can get a website anywhere. You can build it. But there's so many things that the website has to include or not include, and ways it needs to look to make people feel comfortable giving you their contact information once they get there. So that's a whole how to collect contact information, how to get somebody to trust you at your website, who likes filling out online forms. Yeah. So it's that, like, really learn about how to create a website that gets response.
That's great. Hopefully, maybe sometime early in 2021, if you'd like to, I'd like to have you back, and maybe we could focus on that specific topic of, what really needs to be on a website, the reviews. How do you create that social proof and kind of that um, presence, if you will, that gets people to trust you and go, okay, that person looks like a pro, and now I want to go down that rabbit hole, whether it's download a free ebook or get, watch a podcast or whatever it is. I think that would be great insight from you on that.
Sure, I'd love to.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, Joy, I really appreciate your time. I know that you've got a lot on your plate. You're very busy, but I think you've offered incredible value. I've learned a lot, especially about strategic partnerships and how that's grown. That direct mail is still relevant, and that, you really have to think in terms of quantity. I think that is such an important point. I think some people go, well, I posted something today. And you're like, because I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, and Gary Vaynerchuk is like, you have to put out 60 pieces of content per day. And I think everybody just does a blowback on their chair. And
It's very overwhelming. You know who you should check out? Do you know a D?
No.
Do you know Teamy Blends? Have you heard of that company?
No, never heard of Teamy Blends.
Teamy Blends is TEAMI.
Okay.
Blends.com. Follow her on social media. This is a little girl. She was 17 years old. She worked for me for 2 years. She has a multi-million-dollar tea company, a product that you can get anywhere. And she did it all with social media. So, that kind of product that's a low-cost product is perfect for social media. And anyone who wants to see what someone has to do social media-wise to get the impact, aside from Gary, check out Adi. She's really something.
Great. How do we spell that again?
Adi is ADI, and Teamy Blends is TEAMI, Blends, BLENDS. Teamy Blends.
Teamy Blends. Good. I will definitely check that out. And if you're listening to this on podcast or watching this, definitely check out Teamy Blends for a great example of how to use social media to grow your brand.
I can give you another one that's a great example. She doesn't have, her name is, her company is Headley and Bennett.
Headley and Bennett.
Headley and ampersand Bennett. She makes aprons. This girl hustles like you can't. Well, so does Adi. They both hustle. These are both young women who use social media brilliantly and PR brilliantly. And Headley and Bennett makes aprons, and she literally would barge into Michelin star restaurants and give them aprons to get. That's how she started. I mean, she was just a hustler, and she uses social really, really well too. Like, it's not just something you just post.
That's awesome. There we go. I think somebody just said here, Teamy Blends. There we go.
Yeah. Teamy
So
Blends.
thanks for sharing that. Joy, it'd be great if you know these individuals, which sounds like you do, send them my way. I would love to interview them on Growth Driven and kind of get their own successful actions and story and inspiration, because those are the type of people I want on the show. I want people kind of going that rags to riches story, if you will, or that, I started in my basement and now I'm in the Taj Mahal kind of story. So
I know lots of people. I mean, shoot, I've got 95,000 customers. I know lots of business owners that are started small and are doing great. Those little girls are my little girlfriends, but I call them little.
Send your little girlfriends over and send over those 95,000 businesses that are successful. I would love to interview them, because really what I'm trying to do with this platform, you talked about COVID. During the summer, I got so upset by these businesses being shut down, and really Growth Driven was kind of my how to be cause over this problem of how do I do something about it to give back to small businesses, to inspire them despite all the problems, to kind of, maybe if I could bring people in a digital room through Growth Driven and inspire them to kind of rebound and rebuild.
I love it. How are people on right now? I'm a little bit clueless of how people are seeing this.
Yeah. So I'm live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Right now?
Right now.
If I would have known that, I would have promoted it.
Oh, don't worry about it. But what'll happen is it gets recorded on YouTube.
Okay.
So then I'll do the SEO on it so that people find it if they type in postcards or joy or, whatever whatever it is that they do, your company. And then I've put in an application to one day be live on LinkedIn as well, which I have 15,000 followers on.
Oh, nice.
But then I'll email this out, which I've got about 5,000 people on my email list. And I also repurpose it as a podcast. And that goes out to like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and 15 other channels. So this will go out and then I'll retweet it through social sharing over the next few months. So
awesome. Okay, that's great. I really honestly did not know. I didn't know. I mean, I knew you just started this and we have mutual friends. So I thought, sure, I'll do your what is this, a podcast?
Yeah, a podcast / YouTube show called Growth Driven. Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I just started a couple months ago as a way to somehow give back and contribute to this disaster that we've had as an economy. So,
awesome.
and it's done well. I'm excited about it. It's a purpose for me somehow to help other business people.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. And
I appreciate you being here and really contributing to the community. And I know a lot of people will get a lot of value out of this. So, hey guys, this has been another edition of Growth Driven. And I've been so blessed to have Joy with PostcardMania. And definitely visit her website, subscribe to her blog, get her free stuff that she's on there. Join her the summit that she's putting on, and then when we can come together in person once again, like myself, fly out to Florida, be on that cruise ship, eat some of that good food and learn from her, and then hopefully in a couple months we'll have you back on and we'll talk about websites and all the stuff that you know about that.
Awesome. I'd love it. This is really fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, look,
All right.
I can see the comments now. You're very welcome.
Yeah. There you go.
Great. All right. Take it easy. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.